Hi Virgos, happy birthday and welcome to your September 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And just to let you guys know, I actually won't be offering personal readings right now. I might resume them around the time that I start recording the October videos. If that's the case, I'll definitely let you guys know in the October videos if I'm starting them back up. And as for the actual spread we have in front of us, this is a spread I referred to as the Bridging the Gap spread. And the way it works is the cards on the left side here actually represent your energy toward the connection with your main love interest. The cards on this side here represent their energy toward the connection. And then these would be the past energy, present energies, future energies. And then after we get through those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards to help tie everything together. That's where the Bridging the Gap dynamic comes into play. As for the decks being used, on the left side here we have the Lover's Path Tarot. On the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Alright, so with all that out of the way, let's get started with your main spread. In the past position on your side, we have Transformation. So this is actually the equivalent of the Death card in the regular Rider-Waite Tarot. So this is actually a Scorpio energy, which for you is your third house. So this can just be saying that there might have been a conversation that caused an ending between you and your main love interest. That's one way it could play out. Given that we have Persephone and Pluto on this card as well, this can even just represent a connection that is constantly on again, off again, much like their connection, 6 months on, 6 months off. Not necessarily those timelines for you, but that could be the cycle you might feel like you're in with this person. Now, given that this is them in the past and we're still referring to a connection with them, I have the feeling that maybe this is going back into the on phase, especially if we follow the Pluto and Persephone story. That, maybe you guys will be getting back together, but in at least the recent past, there might have been a separation. Could go back to as far as the time of Taurus when we had the Scorpio full moon, especially because I think Pluto was nearby during that. Or possibly even during the Capricorn full moon, because I know Pluto was close by for that as well, as far as the sextile aspect. So if we're looking at timelines, that could be when this occurred. And that would have been during the time of Cancer, of course. So just if you're looking for a timeline reference there. But with this being Scorpio, I definitely feel that there was some kind of communication or lack thereof that might have caused an ending between you and the person you're dealing with in the past. In the past, on their side, we actually have the Seven of Chalices, which is the equivalent of the Seven of Cups, which actually is also a Scorpio energy, the last 10 degrees of Scorpio. So you can actually be dealing with the Scorpio, absolutely, since we already see 2 Scorpio energies on the table. But again, this could just be saying that there was some confusion around communication as well, because again, we go back to the fact that Scorpio is your third house. And if we look at it that way, we see another Scorpio energy here, and this energy is an energy of confusion usually, also multiple options. So maybe that's what was going on. Maybe, let's say you made an offer to someone, right? But they had other options, so they might not have accepted your offer, and that might have felt like the transformation there, right? The depth experience there, like, okay, I tried to get something off the ground with this person, it didn't work. Or it could have been that maybe they were confused because of the fact that they had multiple options, and maybe that led to you possibly ending things with them in that regard. Like, okay, well, are you in or are you out? Basically, right? You know what I mean? So that might have been what caused the ending. And again, like I said, for at least some of you, I feel like this is an on-again, off-again dynamic as well, to even add to more confusion, right? But that's really what I'm picking up on there. In the present position on your side, we have the Prince of Coins, which is the equivalent of the Knight of Pentacles, which is actually a court card for Virgo. And we also have the Princess of Cups. So this is actually the equivalent of the Page of Cups. So this can just be saying that, maybe now you're feeling in your power. Would make sense as far as there's a ton of energy in Virgo right now, rather. So that could definitely be what's at play there. And because of that, you might feel comfortable and confident to extend an offer to this person. And especially if you were the person maybe in the past who Well, actually, that could play out either way. Even if you made the offer in the past and felt like, this person wasn't making up their mind, or if they made an offer to you in the past, maybe there was some communication confusion around that, especially if it was around the time of those full moons we discussed, because there were retrograde energies going on. So that could be what's at play there. Um, and this could just be something that was also on your mind for a long time as well, because I look at this, I almost think about, we look at the land around them, it looks like it was a bit dying off. And if we think about Virgo, that does start the fall season. Well, anyway, it ushers it in, I should say, when we get to Libra. So that could be what's at play there as well, saying that, this might have been something that you've been considering for a long time. And maybe even because of that, you might have been a bit closed off. And maybe this is saying that there was some struggling around communicating, since this represents your third house, that might have led to this person pursuing other options, and now you're feeling more comfortable and confident with yourself, and maybe because of that are going to consider making a new offer to them. And the present energy on their side, we have the Hangman and the Death card. So once again, more Scorpio energy. So you could definitely be dealing with a Scorpio, not out of the realm of possibility at all, since these are basically 3 Scorpio energies now that we see. This is actually a Pisces energy for me as well. So even though this is present position, let's just say this represents halfway into the month, right? We will have a full moon in the sign of Pisces, so that could be what's going on there. And if that's the case, I look at the artwork in this particular death card, and this person just seems very vindictive. So I have to say, and it can be, again, if this was some kind of a third party dynamic, right? This could just be that they're cutting that off. Maybe it was because they found out about one in the past. That might have been what caused the separation in the first place, or you discovered it with them. But what's interesting to me with the Hangman mixed in with that, this can just be saying that if you were the one who ended things with them, it can still be on their mind. And, so basically when you come to them and make them that offer with that Hangman energy, they might feel like they're not ready to make a decision because they're still mulling over that death energy from the past. And, it can just be that they might have viewed it a bit more harshly than you did as well, meaning that, to you it might have felt like, okay, well, this person has multiple options, I'm not really feeling that, right? But they might have felt like, you completely blew them off. Like I said, it could have just been all centered around miscommunication. So now if you come back around with an offer, it might throw them for a loop. They're like, okay, well, you pretty much cut me off in the past, right? And now you're coming back. I don't know what to think of that, right? And for some of you, they might have even been pursuing a connection with someone else. And maybe that's what's going on in the background there, saying that, okay, well, now you're coming back into the picture. I thought things are pretty much over. I started something with one of my other possible connections, right? So that could cause some issues there, obviously. In the future position on your side, we have the Two of Cups and we have the Five of Cups. So yet again, more Scorpio energy. Which, I do have to point out as well, if we just look at the Scorpio energy as just talking to your 8th house, which is Aries, we do have Chiron activity there as well. It's in retrograde. Nothing's really hitting it yet, but around mid-month, as some of those planets start to shift out of Virgo and into Libra, there's going to be a lot of oppositions there, so that can be bringing up old wounds, definitely. But what I really see more than anything with these 2 cards is, for one, this can just be saying that maybe either you or, again, this person might be in a new relationship now, or, at least be considering that, which would leave the other person pretty distraught. That's one way that it could be playing out. Another way this could be playing out too is to say that there's definitely potential there for this to really be a successful relationship, but you guys just might really need to, iron out whatever past issues there were. Because what stands out to me with this Two of Cups in particular, if we look at it, there's like a stormy background, right? This person's cup is knocked over. You can't even tell for sure if there's anything in this cup, right? So it could just be saying that, you might want to make sure that whatever old wounds there were around the connection or even outside of the connection that, maybe a past wound either you or they had that might have been hindering the connection to begin with, that needs to be resolved. Otherwise, you're going to end up in this situation. So that's the main thing I'm picking up on there. But what I will say is we do have the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So if you're wondering if there is potential for the connection, I would say yes, there clearly is. You know what I mean? The Ten of Cups is definitely a good indicator of that. So that could just be more of a thing just saying that, hey, yes, you guys can get that fresh start, right? But just make sure that whatever took place in the past that caused these issues, especially if it was repeated, like I said, with that Pluto and Persephone dynamic we see there, and with the Seven of Cups, with the confusion, this can just be saying that you guys might really have to talk things out, establish boundaries, really figure out where you're trying to go with things in order for it to progress in a positive way to that Ten of Cups rather than ending up here, where once again you feel like, okay, I thought we got things off the ground, I thought things were good, and poof, it goes away once again, right? The future energy on their side is the Queen of Swords, so this is actually a Libra energy. And obviously, if you are dealing with a Scorpio, it's possible they could have a Libra placement as well. Maybe their Mercury, Venus, possibly even both. So that could be what that's referring to there. But another way this can be pointing out, another thing this can be pointing to, rather, is that this can just be saying that they're willing to, establish a balanced and fair connection between the two of you. So, not to play the blame game, it's actually kind of difficult anyway to see who caused the miscommunication, or if it was just the energies at play. It definitely seems like something was a bit off in the past. And the present, the only thing that makes me a little bit more inclined to feel that it might have been you that cut things off is because we do see the Prince of Coins and then the Princess of Cups beneath that, which represents the page. So it does lead me to believe that it's more likely you that would be making the offer. And again, maybe it's just because of all that energy in your sign that has you confident enough to make that offer. And then, like I said, with that Hangman, I feel like they're still a bit hung up on what did take place in the past, since we do see the Death card there, and we see it on your side in the past. So it can just be saying that they're still, maybe that's what it is, they're still confused about what in the hell even happened in the past. So this could even just be saying that if you do come to them with an offer, they might establish firm boundaries like, well, okay, before we move forward, you need to tell me what in the hell that was in the past, because they might not want to make that mistake again. And that Queen of Swords energy isn't afraid to cut any connections out if they feel that they need to. And this can also say that the two of you might be at a distance from each other as well, because if we look at her, she's looking at what's presumably the King of Swords from the way that she was looking at him anyway. And obviously he's not physically there from the looks of it. It looks like it's some kind of a painting. So something to keep in mind there as well. Maybe that's part of why this connection might be off and on. Maybe one or both of you travel a lot. I don't know. Or maybe it's just been long distance anyway. But yeah, looks like the main gist of it is, yes, there's definitely potential there. Just looks like the past needs to be ironed out, whether it was you or them, possibly both of you, led to some confusion in the past. It looks like things need to be ironed out in order for there to be success, rather than it ending in the Five of Cups and then possibly repeating the same cycle over and over. So with that said too, it can be that this might be a karmic connection for some of you, and maybe this is, about learning that lesson and moving forward. But for the majority of you, I feel like this is within the connection and there is potential for growth, but something from the past needs to be ironed out. The bottom of the deck on their side, they have the Wheel. So this is a Sagittarius energy, and of course, same thing as before. If they're Scorpio, they could clearly have a Sagittarius placement as well. But this can be pointing to the fact that this might be a person that does have multiple options. With that Queen of Swords energy, I do pick up on a sense of loyalty though. So it can just be that, again, they might just really want boundaries established. They might want to feel like it's a balanced connection in order for them to actually commit to it. That's really what I'm picking up on there. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix here. So first, we'll see if we can get some additional messages from the Mystic Moon Oracle deck I have here. And I do pre-shuffle this deck before every reading, and then what I like to do is see if we get any jumpers that come out. I'm looking for any unspoken messages from you toward them, and then any from them toward you. And what I do is I'll shuffle for a bit. I look for jumpers. If I get a jumper, I'll take it. If nothing comes up after I shuffle for a while, since this is a general reading, I just take it as a sign to keep moving forward and take a look at the next oracle deck. So we'll see what we get, if anything. So like I said, first we'll be looking for any unspoken messages from them toward you. Oh, got one there. So this is from you toward them, rather. It says, I'm sorry I couldn't do right by you. Interesting. So that does kind of lead me to my original thought, which was that, it might have been some of you that cut off this connection. And, maybe now you are trying to come back with that Prince of Coins and that Princess of Cups. And it can just throw this person for a loop. Like I said, with that Hangman energy and the Death card that we see there, like I said, just how vindictive the person looks there. This looks like a harsh energy, so they might have taken it pretty hard, especially if there was confusion around it. There might have been, could have been even a ghosting dynamic, let's say, where they're like, okay, what the hell happened, right? So just be aware that if you do come back, it might take a little work. But yeah, given that the message from you to them is, I'm sorry I couldn't do right by you, I do tend to believe for at least most of you, it might have been you that cut off the connection. All right, we'll see if we have any unspoken messages from them toward you. Oh, got one. All right. And the card from them to you is, I'm reminded of you constantly. So, again, if there was something that was wrong on your part, right? Like I said, not to place blame, because it looks like there's definitely confusion here in the past with the Seven of Cups. So, whether it was you perceiving them as not knowing what they wanted and that led you to walk away, or it was you walking away that caused confusion for them and to maybe start pursuing other connections, looks like there is still at least some fond memories. At least I'm picking up on fond memories, because it says I'm reminded of you constantly, which is a bit neutral in of itself, but I do feel like there are feelings there. Just might need to be some things that need to be ironed out. And, I got that same kind of vibe with Taurus as well, so it can just be the energies at play. Virgo energy is definitely a time to fix things, right? So maybe that's just a general theme this month. But let me see what we got from this oracle deck as well. So this is actually Wisdom of the Oracle. For those of you who watch my general readings, this is one of the ones I always use, so you're probably used to it. But we'll see if we could get... Oh, got two cards that came up here. So maybe that'll be, like I said, maybe there's two different groups of you where you might have been the one that walked away, and then someone else might have walked away from you. So let's see. First, we have Breathed. Let's take a look at that. There's the artwork, and the number is 29. Okay, it says patience, waiting, going slowly, wellness, meditation, trust. The Oracle's message: patience in all things is called for right now. What do you need to do when you're in a rush? Slow down, of course. Meditate and trust. Breathe and repeat. Humans cannot exist without drawing breath. Now is the time to allow the life-giving element of air to replenish your body, your being, and your very essence. Stop to smell the roses, breathe in the sunlight, and release the darkness, and miracles will appear. So what's interesting there is talking about, patience. To me, that gives me that vibe that what we were saying here with them having the deft energy along with the Hangman and the present, saying that if you do make that offer to them with that Prince of Coins and that Princess of Cups beneath that. It can just be saying that you need to be patient with them as far as, they might still be hung up on what happened in the past, and it might require some patience as far as, like I said, they might actually come across as a bit demanding with that Queen of Swords energy, right? Where they're like, okay, well, I want reassurance that this isn't going to happen again, right? Especially if, like I said, this was an on again, off again thing, and maybe they were just tired of it. And maybe that's what happened. And now, if you're trying to come back with, something more serious, they might want to just know, okay, well, what reassurance do I have that this isn't going to happen again, Because, like I said, they might have just taken it more harshly than you did. Whether you actually did it or not, if it was a mutual thing, just might have hurt them more, possibly. And then with the patience also, like I said, with the Two of Cups and the Five of Cups, that was where I was saying, you guys might really want to make sure that the past is ironed out before you move forward. Otherwise, you end up in that Five of Cups again versus the Ten of Cups. So it seems to align with that to some extent. And the relationship message says, don't be in too much of a hurry right now. The heart needs time to open. Take a breath and let nature take its course. Release constriction and anxiety, for there is no need for tension. Savor the moment, and the waiting won't prove difficult. Your heart knows what the ego often resists learning. Patience pays off in deep and meaningful ways. So that's interesting there too, as far as patience pays off in deep and meaningful ways. Because as far as, like I said, if this could have been something that happened a while back, maybe even in the time of Taurus when we had that Scorpio full moon, right? And then the patience could be that, maybe this was you saying, all right, you know what? I'm going to really take the time to make sure I get this right. And like I said, it looks like here they might have taken really long because it looks like everything around them is dying, right? But can just be saying that that patience will pay off if you make sure you actually come correct, basically. All right, and then the second card we have is Higher Power. There's the artwork for it, and the number is 4. Let's see what that has to say. We'll see if it resonates with that first card as well, or maybe it's a different message, because like I said, for some of you this might have worked the other way around. I don't know. It says, conscious contact with a higher power, the presence of the divine, seeing source energy in all things, committing to a partnership with spirit. The Oracle's message. This card reminds you that you are more than a person trying to get ahead and make things happen for yourself and others. You have an immortal soul and are gifted with a human life through which a higher power can express itself. At this time, you need to be conscious of your connection to spirit and foster it through prayer and meditation. Ask, what is the highest good for all? How can I serve? Then get out of your own way and trust that there is a plan for your life more wondrous than you can ever know. You are always protected and divinely directed. So hopefully you guys got something from that message as well. And then the relationship message says it's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power, called God, Goddess, Spirit, or any other name that is sacred and holy. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card also indicates that there is a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and evolution. Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. So what's interesting there was when it said they're essential to your growth and evolution. That can't even just be saying that, again, whether you walked away from them or vice versa. That might have needed to happen, in order for you to get back in your lane, basically, right? Which is the Prince of Coins. That's the Virgo energy. Reconnect with yourself, right? Maybe you just had some other things that needed to be done. This person looked like they weren't on the firmest ground either with the Seven of Cups energy. So maybe it was just a separation that was needed. If nothing else, maybe then for the two of you to realize how much you actually do like each other. So something there. But we'll wrap up there, guys. Like I said, happy birthday once again. I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.